It is time for the dangerous one.
Daryl Ruiter reports are powered by Shivan Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
All right, Daryl, good morning to you.
Hey boys, how are we?
Oh, doing okay. It's good to see you. Good to hear you. Daryl, could Sunday be the coup de grace for Kevin Stefanski?
If they lose, it could be the end of Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
But you know what? I don't get the impression that ownership right now has the appetite to make a change. That's the thing. Like that's not the sense that I'm getting.
Well, I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think that a lot of people get that. I'm just saying. Well, wait a minute. I think a lot of people want it. I don't think a lot of people feel that way.
Right.
And I think that may be a situation where I thought maybe Sunday, let me run this by you. If they decide to open up this offense, do you think that that's something Kevin Stefanski wants to do on Sunday?
No, I think what Kevin wants to do is I think he wants to continue to do what they have done with both these young quarterbacks, and that's try and keep things relatively conservative.
Okay.
I mean, they're, and understandably so. I'm not criticizing, but they're really hammering into these guys. Take care of the football. Mm-hmm. Don't do anything careless with it. Don't turn it over. And I think that when you're dealing with young players like this, they are thinking more than they're doing out there. And if you go back and you look at last week's game for Shedeur, you could tell he was thinking an awful lot. There were some windows there for him to throw the football, and he just wasn't pulling the trigger. And he admitted that on Wednesday when we spoke to him. And he used the phrase pull the trigger, and then he backtracked and said, hey, that's the wrong thing to say, but I do have to, when it's there, I've got to trust what I'm seeing, and I've got to get the football out and give guys opportunity to make plays. But that's all just part and parcel to this process. I mean, Shedeur's not even supposed to be starting right now.
No, but the reason I bring this up, I'm sorry, Daryl, the reason I bring this up is that the timing, and sometimes timing's just timing. But
right.
Like the timing of the Jeremy Fowler, Dan Graziano report of like, hey, other teams are really, really interested in Kevin Stefanski if he were to be let go. And I'm going, I wonder if they're going to open it up on Sunday and Kevin doesn't really want him to open up. And I wonder if there's, because we don't know who's in charge of anything. So I'm like, directive is a strong word, but I'm going to use it. Is there a directive to go, hey, you're playing against Tennessee. Let's see if the kid can actually throw it. And maybe Kevin don't want to do it, and maybe Kevin thinks that things might go south on Sunday and there could be problems.
Well, that's kind of the boat that I'm in right now.
Wow, I thought you were going to tell me I was crazy.
No, because I asked Tommy Reese this yesterday, Ken. I just, in some form or fashion, I just said, hey, how are you balancing teaching these kids and really instilling in them to take care of the football, be careful, don't do anything careless, versus trying to see what these kids have and what they can do and just letting them go for it. And he gave me an answer, hey, it's predicated on what we're seeing from the defense, et cetera, et cetera. And that's all well and good, but I'm at a point now where take the training wheels off. Your season's over. You're 3-9. You are dead in the water, going nowhere, okay? So let's see what these kids can do. And right now, it's Shedeur Sanders. Let's see what he can do. And if he throws picks, if he makes mistakes, then that's what happens. What's the worst thing that's going to happen with that result? You're going to lose the game. Okay, well, what else is new? You've been losing all season anyway. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I understand you want to make sure you're teaching the good habits and things like that, but also let's take the training wheels off. Let's see what this kid can do. Let him rip and let the results fall where they may, and I think you get a truer evaluation as well.
Let me add something to you, Daryl. And I'm sure you've probably already said this before. You can't sit there and tell me all these things that you just gave me there, which I think you disagree with, obviously, and then turn around and, hey, we're gonna work in Tevin Jenkins here. We're gonna play musical offensive lineman. Oh, by the way, we're trying to do what's best for Shedeur. We really think that he's going to be the future of the franchise in some fashion, but we're going to rotate in offensive linemen there, and especially put him in there on critical 4th-and-1 situations there when he hasn't probably practiced it all week. So I can't hear any of that.
Yeah, well, I vehemently disagree with how they've handled the Wyatt Teller situation.
I agree with you.
I think it's classless. Okay, so he might be a little outspoken and honest in when he talks to us. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I respect that.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to sit a guy just because of how he talks to the media. I mean, look at Jerry Jeudy.
No, I know. I get it. I mean, here's the biggest issue I have. Since when do playing standards all of a sudden matter? You have not really done anything as far as accountability this entire season. Why start now? Have you watched the special teams unit this year? Have you watched Jerry Jeudy this year? Where's the accountability been for those guys? And now all of a sudden you're going to pick on someone who's been a multi-time Pro Bowler for you, been a good soldier for you, played hurt, done everything and anything that's been asked of him, played at a high level, and now that's the guy that you're going to point out and say, yeah, he's not really playing up to par right now, so we're going to sit him down and we're going to put a young kid in there. I'm sorry. I think that is just an absolutely horrendous way to lead a football organization and 53 men in a locker room. That's just ridiculous.
I mean, how do you perceive the quote thought partners, the guys who have been aligned on the same page? How do you perceive things are in that building right now that they are having another disastrous year, that now there's more national conversation about what happens with this front office, and knowing that with the Shedeur stuff going on and now Wyatt Teller, and then, oh, by the way, they have 2 first-round picks that make it likely that they're going to go in another direction in this offseason. What do you think the vibes are right now, Daryl?
I have no idea. I haven't seen I couldn't tell you the last time I saw Andrew Berry. Usually you see him walking out, going to practice and whatever, and I'm not saying he's not doing that. He's probably doing it when we get kicked out. But couldn't tell you the last time I saw Andrew Berry. He's in a bunker hiding somewhere.
No, I will say I've seen him. He's there.
Yeah, no, I know he is, Ken. I'm just saying.
I know, but
he usually is very visible when he's going to practice and things like that. So I have no idea. Listen, we know what the vibes were after the Joe Flacco trade, right? Kevin was in one corner, Andrew was in another corner. Kevin was taken by surprise by the whole deal. Although I don't know if Kevin should have been taken surprise by the whole deal. Maybe the whole Bengals thing is what threw him off, but that's neither here nor there. I have said this multiple times to you when it comes to the desire to make changes in that building, the way the Haslams work, what typically leads to the change isn't necessarily the results on the field. And yes, that is a factor. But what drives them to make change within their building is just what you're getting to, Anthony, and that is how the GM and the head coach, the front office, and the coaching staff are getting along. And if they are working together, if there's peace in the building, right? If people aren't running into the owner's office blaming the other party for what's gone wrong and things like that, I think that there's less of an appetite. But when you got finger pointing, you get yelling and screaming and trying to throw people under the bus and kissing up to the owner and whatnot, that's when they're just like, yeah, we're just not dealing with this. We're going to bring some other people in. I don't get the impression that that's happening. Both Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry, they're grown adults, and they have handled themselves as such since getting here. That's not to say that they've always been in lockstep. Again, the Joe Flacco trade's Exhibit A of them being on opposite sides of the fence, but they handle their business like grown adults, and that's why right now, and I realize they're 3-9, it's pretty bleak, I just don't get the impression that Browns ownership is ready to fire people because of all the mitigating circumstances that we have been bellyaching about the last couple of years.
All right, Daryl Ruiter joined us on the hotline. So there have been quite a lot of film gurus, and even I saw, was it Luke McCown getting on a Jay Gruden? Basically,
this is the most wonderful time of year. We've had former NFL insider relatives emailing and DM reporters. That same group DMing and then blocking reporters. We've got family members jumping on social media saying things. We've got fiancés on social media. It is just your normal December for the Cleveland Browns in Berea right now.
Well, given all of that, and basically I think it's kind of been a consensus from all the people watching film, is that it's only 2.5 games. You never judge anybody definitively on 2.5 games, but they're all seeing the same thing out of Shedeur, which is flash play potential,
Yep.
But at the same time, way late, not processing quick enough.
Yep.
No anticipatory throws. So what has been your thoughts on the Shedeur experience so far?
I agree with those assessments. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Anthony, you go back and you look at that game last week against San Francisco. There were some opportunities down the field. He just wasn't trusting what he was seeing. And again, the trust word keeps coming up. And this goes back to training camp in the offseason and how they handle these quarterbacks. He hasn't had a lot of time with these folks. He trusts Gage LeVarden more than he trusts Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku right now. As crazy as that sounds, but that's because he's worked with Gage LeVarden a little bit. Hasn't worked with those guys as much. And that goes back to how they handled this whole quarterback situation. And he talked extensively again on Wednesday about trust and trying to build that trust. And the way to do it is by the reps. Jerry Jeudy asked about it, and he said same thing. Got to have the repetition so everybody's on the same page. And maybe Jerry's not spending 5 minutes yelling and screaming at Shedeur Sanders, even though nobody's yelling and screaming at Jerry Jeudy when he's dropping footballs that hit him in hands or he's fumbling the ball and blowing scoring opportunities. But that's neither here nor there. So, this is all part of this process, and I don't know how throughout the practice week or the structure of that week that you can build that trust. But at some point, Shedeur is going to have to see those windows and take some chances and get the football to those guys. The play that really stood out to me was the overthrow. And after going back and watching it, my mistake was thinking, he overthrew him and that was the end. But if you rewind 2 seconds earlier, you'll see that Jerry clearly had the angle on that, and had Shedeur gotten him the ball then instead of waiting, then we're not talking about the overthrow. We're talking about Jerry taking the ball to the house because it was a perfect angle to catch and run with it. And those are the areas where I think Shedeur has to grow. And footwork is still a little sloppy too. But again, he's a 5th-round pick, and I think we're seeing some of the things as to why he was a 5th-round pick and not this big grand conspiracy to torpedo this kid's career like some folks want to put out there.
You an Ohio State fan?
Yes, I am. Ken, I was upset that you were not excited they beat Michigan last week.
Ooh, tough talking, Daryl. I'm just saying, sorry.
No, that's all right. I forgive you.
Daryl, do you want Fernando Mendoza to play well tomorrow night?
Yes, but not well enough to beat Ohio State, that's for sure.
Okay.
I think there's a fine line there. It's like watching fantasy football, right? I'm rooting for certain guys to play well for my fantasy team, but I don't want them to win the game.
But say they beat Ohio State.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Okay, hold on. You got a whole playoffs coming up after this. I mean, you've lost big games before and ended up winning the national championship. Hold on now.
Hey, Ryan Day's got a pretty good streak against top 5 teams going right now. I want to see that ball roll down the hill more.
I'm taking Ohio State to win, but say you lost tomorrow, all right?
Yeah,
Would part of you feel okay? Because there ain't no way they're going to beat Ohio State without him playing really, really well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If Mendoza does not play well, they're not beating the Buckeyes tomorrow night. If he does play well and they beat the Buckeyes, I think that really injects even more life into his draft stock, and probably makes him top quarterback in the class, depending who's coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he beats the Buckeyes, that puts Indiana in the college football playoff, and then obviously he needs to play well in the college football playoff. But that would certainly jump him, I think, up some draft boards.
All right, Daryl, thank you very much for the time.
You bet, guys. Have a great weekend.
Daryl Ruiter.
Brought to you by Scheib & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Outstanding as